Welcome to the latest OCHM garden update video. As you can see, today we're doing a little more planting and we're working with herbs today. It's mid-March, about 8 weeks before we hope to take them out into the garden, and so we are getting set up. First step always in any indoor planting is to pack your seed cell. We're using a mix of coconut coir and seed starting mix. Friendly reminder to tap it down, don't jam the dirt in, just tap it down, you'll get the air pockets out. And we always try to label before we put any seeds into the dirt. It solves any confusion, it solves any questions about where you put your seeds. So we prepped all of our labels and are putting them in ahead of time. We're doing today 6 of our herbs. Eventually there'll be 10, but the other 4 are either gonna be direct sown or they're lavender doing their own thing, and you can check that out on a different blog post. But these are 6 herbs that we are starting indoors. And the first one is mint, which was a little bit challenging to find. Mint can be known as sort of an aggressive plant. So not everyone sells it, but we ordered some online, and you can see these seeds are really small. And when seeds are tiny, and you have a lot of them, like in this packet, we are going to be sprinkling them over the top, and instead of trying to put individual ones in. This means we're gonna get too many seedlings potentially, but that's okay. We'll pick out the strongest ones and keep going with them. Next up is thyme. We ordered these from Eden Brothers, and they're also pretty small. So we're gonna sprinkle these right over the top as well. And you can see here in our seed pack, we're doing a 6x6. So when we sprinkle a number of seeds into an individual cell, and we have 6 different cells, potentially we have a lot of seeds that are gonna grow here. So it's okay to sort of overplant as long as we're willing to weed out the weaker ones. You don't want too many seedlings in a cell battling for nutrients. So we're just gonna have to be a little bit ruthless later on, but for now we're giving everybody a good head start. Basil is next. Basil seeds are a little bit bigger, and because of that we're able to move some of the dirt aside, and we're gonna plant these 1 to 2 per cell, about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep. In general, a good rule of thumb is to plant a seed twice as deep as the width of the seed. So if you can actually pick it up like at these basils, you can actually plant them. And we're doing 2 per cell here, and then just covering back over and tapping them down again. A little extra dirt just to make sure they're nice and level. Our sage is our next herb, and this is actually lyre leaf sage, which was pretty hard to find. We ordered them from Prairie Moon Nursery. And this is the type of sage that is naturally found in our area of southeastern Massachusetts. And so we wanted to grow a native plant here. You can see the seeds again are kind of bigger than normal, so we're just poking 2 holes, doing again about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep, 2 seeds per cell, and then covering them back over. And sage will take a little longer to germinate than the others, but we know that that's quite all right. Next up is St. John's wort, and if you remember from our other videos, St. John's wort needs to be cold stratified. And so we started St. John's wort back in January. We mixed it in with some moistened sand, and it spent 6 weeks in the freezer. All this is really doing is trying to trick the seed into thinking it's been outside for winter, and then when it comes out and thaws out, it basically thinks spring has started and it will start to germinate. So we're just taking here and mixing it in on top of that seed starting mix, and the seeds are all sort of packed in there and hopefully ready to go. And our last seed is German chamomile, another naturally occurring herb in southeastern Mass. These ones are unbelievably tiny. If you see in the packet, there's actually another packet, and they're so small, they're basically like dust. So this is gonna be another case where our skills prevent us from maybe being able to do 1 or 2 per cell, and we're just gonna sprinkle them on top, and we will pick out the strongest seedlings when they germinate. They're just so teeny that we're just carefully putting them on top. We'll tap them down ever so slightly, and then we'll be ready to go. So that's everybody. That's all 6 planted into our seed packs. The next step, just like with all of our other videos, is to place them into our water. What we do is we fill our plastic tub, this is a waterproof plastic tub, about halfway full of water. And then when we put our seed cell packs into there, the water wicks up from the bottom and keeps the entire cell moist and able for the seed to germinate. We don't want to water from overhead with these because some of them are so tiny. A watering can or a hose or a spray would maybe just even like wash them out of the cell. So if we're going to use watering from below, if it dries out, we'll just add more water to the bin versus watering from above. After this, you'll see we'll get our plastic acrylic dome on top. That is to create a little greenhouse effect, encourage that humidity to germinate the seeds. Once we get some germination and some seedlings, we'll take that off because you don't want to be too humid. And they're going to go from this point into the seed starting area we've set up right onto a heat mat. And what's fabulous about this video is that actually we were able to give you a 5 days later shot of how things are going. And here you go. You can see that we had some germination within 5 days. So stay tuned and see how they come, and come visit our garden this spring here at the OCHM.